I work the night shift at Blackwood Hospital. The elevators had their own schedule. The first time the elevator opened by itself, I blamed the old wiring. The second time, I checked the security logs. The third time, someone walked out. The problem wasn't that I couldn't recognize them. The problem was that every security camera showed the elevator arriving, completely empty. Rest of the story continues naturally. The elevator doors stayed open 12 seconds, exactly like they always did. I don't know why I stepped closer. Maybe curiosity, maybe stupidity, maybe because deep down, I still believed there had to be a logical explanation for everything happening inside Blackwood Memorial. I looked inside. The elevator was spotless. No footprints, no hospital carts, no smell, nothing. Just polished steel walls reflecting my flashlight back into my face. The doors began closing, then stopped, as if something invisible had stepped between them. The sensor reopened the doors. Still, nobody was there. A cold feeling settled in my stomach. Not fear, not yet. Just the strange realization that something had happened, and I hadn't seen it happen. I returned to the security office without saying a word. The first thing I did was replay camera 4. I watched the elevator leave the basement, reach the 3rd floor, open, remain open, close, exactly what I'd witnessed. Then I noticed something I hadn't seen before. The timestamp froze. For exactly 7 seconds. 2 hours, 13 minutes and 41 seconds. 2 hours, 13 minutes and 41 seconds. 2 hours, 13 minutes and 41 seconds. Then suddenly jumped forward to 2 hours, 13 minutes and 48 seconds. 7 seconds simply didn't exist. I replayed it again. Same thing. Again. Same result. The recording skipped over those exact 7 seconds every single time. The next night, I brought a handheld body camera from the equipment locker. Hospital cameras could malfunction. Mine couldn't. At exactly 2:12, I stood in front of elevator 2 again. The numbers climbed. B. 1, 2, 3. The doors opened. Empty. Again. This time I kept recording. Nothing happened. Or at least, nothing I could see. When my shift ended, I watched the footage inside the security office. At first everything looked normal. Then, halfway through the recording, the image flickered. Only once. Less than half a second. I paused it, frame by frame. There, standing in the back corner of the elevator, was someone wearing an old Blackwood security uniform. The image disappeared in the very next frame. I zoomed in. The picture became grainy. The man's face stayed hidden beneath the shadow of an old security cap. But one thing stood out immediately. His name tag. Mark. My hands went cold. Mark Sullivan. The same guard Human Resources insisted had never worked there. The printer jammed twice before finally producing the image. I carried it upstairs to the nursing station. Priya Chandra was finishing paperwork. She looked exhausted. When I placed the photo in front of her, she didn't ask where I got it. She didn't even look surprised. Instead, she quietly asked, "You saw him too?" I stared at her. "You know who this is?" She nodded. "My first week here. He warned me not to stay after 3. What happened to him?" She looked toward the hallway before lowering her voice. "They say he disappeared. The hospital says he transferred. The sheriff's office says there's no missing persons report." She swallowed hard, but everyone who's worked nights long enough knows his name. Before I could ask another question, every light in the hallway went out. Not flickered, not dimmed. Every light. At once. The emergency backup lights came on 3 seconds later. The hallway was empty again. Except, elevator 2 had somehow reached the 1st floor. Neither of us had heard it move. The doors were already open. And this time, someone was standing inside. perfectly still, facing away from us. Neither of us moved. The figure inside the elevator wore an old Blackwood security uniform, the same dark blue jacket, the same brass badge, the same cap pulled low over its face. It stood completely still, almost waiting. I whispered, "Mark." No response. Priya grabbed my arm. "Don't." Her voice was barely audible. "It isn't him." The elevator doors slowly closed. Neither of us tried to stop them. The moment the doors shut, the hallway lights came back. Everything looked normal again, like nothing had happened. Priya walked away without another word. She never finished her paperwork. The next evening, she didn't come to work. I asked another nurse where she was. Nobody knew who I was talking about. Priya Chandra. Blank stares. There isn't anyone here by that name. My stomach tightened. I knew exactly what I'd heard, exactly who I'd spoken to. Yet once again, the hospital insisted that person had never existed. That night, I stopped trusting people. I started trusting paperwork. Hospitals document everything. Admissions, transfers, deaths, maintenance. Surely, something inside those records could explain what was happening. Around midnight, I used my security keycard to enter medical records. Rows of old filing cabinets stretched across the room. Most patient files had already been digitized. Older ones hadn't. The fire from 1998 kept appearing in every document I found. Same conclusion. Electrical failure. 6 fatalities. Case closed. Until I found one folder that didn't belong. It wasn't labeled with a patient's name. Only 3 words. *** level 3 incident ***. No date. No signatures. Just a thick brown folder. I opened it. Inside were dozens of photographs. Every single one showed elevator 2. Different years. Different cameras. Different quality. Same elevator. Same position. Same open doors. And standing somewhere inside every photograph was the same security guard, always facing away from the camera. My heartbeat sped up. I flipped to the last page. It wasn't a report. It was a handwritten note. If you see him, do not acknowledge him. If he knows you can see him, he won't leave alone. There was no signature, only one faded stamp. *** Hollow Creek Sheriff's Office ***. I immediately grabbed my radio. This is security requesting dispatch. Nothing, only static. I tried my cell phone. No signal. Every other part of the hospital had reception. Medical records had none. Not even one bar. Almost like the room had been built to keep communication out. Or keep something else in. When I finally stepped back into the hallway, the lights flickered. Once, twice, then stabilized. I looked toward the east elevators. The display already read 3. The doors were open. Nobody had called it. Nobody had used it. Then, for the first time since I'd started working at Blackwood, the elevator didn't come back down. It stayed on the 3rd floor for almost 20 minutes. Longer than ever before. Almost like someone was taking their time. Up there. Curiosity got the better of me. I knew I should have waited until morning. I knew I should have called someone. Instead, I pressed the button. Elevator 2 arrived almost instantly. The doors slid open. Still empty. I stepped inside. The doors closed behind me. I never pressed a floor. I never touched a button. The elevator began moving anyway. Up. Past the 1st floor. Past the 2nd. Then, instead of stopping at 3, the display changed. The number disappeared, replaced by a single letter. ***B****. The elevator continued descending. B. Whatever waited below the basement. I'd never seen it on any building map. The ride felt wrong. Too long. Blackwood only had 4 floors. Yet the elevator kept moving for nearly 30 seconds. long enough that my ears popped from the pressure. Then, it stopped. The doors slid open. Darkness. Not the kind caused by burnt-out lights. The kind that seemed to swallow the beam from my flashlight. I stepped forward carefully. The floor wasn't concrete anymore. It was old tile. Cracked. Covered in soot. The air smelled like wet ash and burned plastic. It was freezing. Far colder than any hospital basement should have been. Behind me, the elevator doors closed. I raised my flashlight. Old hospital room numbers appeared along both walls. 301, 302, 303. I froze. Those were third-floor room numbers, but I was supposed to be below the basement. That made absolutely no sense. Slowly, I walked forward. Every room looked abandoned. Beds covered with dust. Old four stands. Wheelchairs rusting in corners. It looked like an entire hospital floor had been sealed away decades ago. Then I heard it. A heartbeat monitor. Beep, beep, beep. Steady. Somewhere ahead. I followed the sound. Every instinct told me to turn back, but there was nowhere to go. The elevator was gone. The monitor led me to room 317. The door stood slightly open. Inside, someone lay beneath a white hospital blanket. Motionless. Machines surrounded the bed. Most were covered in dust, except one, the heart monitor. Its screen glowed bright green. Beep, beep, beep. I stepped closer. The patient's face remained hidden beneath the blanket. Only one arm rested outside. Old, grey, covered with burn scars. A hospital wristband hung loosely. The name on it made my body freeze. *** Mark Sullivan ***. The monitor stopped. Silence filled the room. Then a voice behind me whispered, "You finally came." I turned. Empty doorway. No one. The blanket sank slowly, as if something had just stood up. Cold spread instantly. Another voice. Closer. "You weren't supposed to see us." Lights exploded. Every bulb burst. Darkness swallowed everything. I ran. Footsteps followed. Not one. Dozens. Same rhythm. Same distance. Never closer. Never farther. Then, ding. The elevator bell. Steel doors were open ahead. Bright light inside. I ran toward it. The footsteps grew louder. Closer. Just as I jumped in, the doors slammed shut. The elevator shot up violently. I fell. It stopped. First floor. Emergency lobby. Morning light outside. A nurse passed me like nothing happened. No reaction. No question. Like I wasn't even there. Back at security office. Clock read *** 2:14 a.m. ***. Only 1 minute passed. I quit that morning. No explanation. No notice. Just silence. The administrator didn't argue. She handed my paycheck. Then asked softly, "You rode elevator too, didn't you?" I never answered. She sighed. Then opened a drawer. Inside were dozens of security badges. Every one belonged to a former night guard. One badge caught my *** Mark Sullivan ***. She closed the drawer before I could say anything. Some people leave Blackwood. She whispered. And some people never really do. Last month, curiosity got the better of me one final time. I drove back to Blackwood Memorial. The hospital was still there. The East Wing was still supposedly closed. I parked across the street and watched for a few minutes. At exactly *** 2:13 a.m. ***, the lights on the third floor turned on by themselves. One window overlooked the elevator lobby. Someone was standing there, wearing a security uniform, watching the parking lot, watching me. When I zoomed in with my phone, the picture blurred for a second, just long enough to hide the face, but I could still read the name stitched above the pocket. *** Danny Reyes ***.